It's a new nationwide normal since the war with Iran started, but worst of all in some Democrat-controlled states.
A lot of this is just blue state stupidity that they pay so much for gas.
That's economist Steve Moore with a committee to unleash prosperity. He told the Salem Radio Network some of those states actually have a lot of their own untapped energy resources.
New York has a lot of oil, too. I mean, they are the Utica Shale, which Pennsylvania drills to get money. The idiot New Yorkers in Albany, the lawmakers, won't allow the drilling. So, in Pennsylvania, they're drilling horizontally under New York and taking out all their oil.
The war continues to inflict financial pain for Iran as well. Here's Ron Taylor.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says U.S. naval blockade is choking the Iranian economy, especially the IRGC, by pushing Karj Island oil facilities toward shutdown and freezing regime funds abroad. The U.S. Treasury is intensifying pressure by freezing regime funds and sanctioning entities involved in covert trade and finance.
That's Ron Taylor reporting. Wildfires in the South are expanding.
My house is gone.
Video by Brittany Quinn shows a heartbreaking scene of burned-out vehicles and smoking debris left by a wildfire in Brantley County in southeast Georgia. Governor Brian Kemp spoke at a news conference after touring the damage.
We believe it was started by a balloon landing on a power line causing an arc that created the fire.
County Manager Joey Caton urged residents to heed evacuation orders.
This is a dynamic fire that's changing.
Jennifer Drawdy has lived in Waynesville for 41 years and says the emotional toll has been overwhelming.
So many people has lost their homes.
I'm Jennifer King.
The toll as of Friday, some 38,500 acres had burned. Of course, that number has increased since then. At least 122 homes had been destroyed and 1,000 more are still in harm's way. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
Eight o'clock just got sweeter. Patsies, there's no sucking up here. Grab your binkies, grab your little blankie. You're about to get a shot of America first.
Say hello to my little friend!
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, no thanks. Canada can be last. Until it's a state. Then it naturally becomes first.
So you don't say that.
So why don't you stick that in your pipe and smoke it, soy boy?
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Like full-time. Killer Carl!
All right, welcome to the Killer Carl Radio Show here on the John Fredericks Radio Network, brought to you by Seaboard Media, broadcasting from the Iron Bean Coffee Studios in beautiful Allentown, Pennsylvania, where we're going to have a rainy day, Dan. It's going to be a rainy day here. Yes, it's going to be rainy, but it's okay. It's okay. The grandkids are coming over, right? So it's exciting. I can't take them outside, so they're going to be stuck running around. Well, the 2-year-old will run around. The 6-month-old I'll be carrying around, helping my wife. But Dan, all right. Give us the clues for this week. For some reason, I can't see myself on the monitor, but I don't know if there's a reason, if it's just not up. But give us the clues for the week on that trivia, on the movie score trivia.
Okay, so this was from a 1987 sci-fi blockbuster. Spawned 2 sequels, and trying to see if I can get us to the where. Let's see here. There, let's do that. There we go. Now I'm at least semi on camera here for you. But the 1987 sci-fi blockbuster spawned 2 sequels, a remake, and some critics said that it was the best sci-fi film this side of 1927's Metropolis. The film more or less kick-started director Paul Verhoeven's American filmmaking career. And I don't know if you know Paul Verhoeven at all, but you would know his work. He directed, after this film, went on to direct Total Recall, Basic Instinct, Starship Troopers, Hollow Man, and yes, the infamous 1995 cult classic Showgirls.
Oh, well, there you go.
but yes, but this was one of his biggest hits, if not his biggest hit. So the 1987 sci-fi blockbuster that for which I just played the theme music.
All right, guys. Listen, we've got this picture of this signed autograph picture right here of Joe Biden, Barack Obama. Remember, we're not moving on to any better prizes till I give this away. And I'm going to throw in this beautiful picture of the one and only Donald Trump hugging that flag. So I figured I'd sweeten it a little bit, right? You get the autographed fire starter of Joe Biden and Barack Obama, but you get the beautiful picture of Donald J. Trump hugging the American flag. Come on.
There we go.
Can't get any better than that, right?
That's pretty great. That's pretty great,
yeah,
Carl.
Come on, man. We're making winning prizes great again. That's
and
what we're doing.
There we go. I like that. Make winning prizes great again. And we still need to reveal what last week's challenge was.
Go ahead, reveal it. And
So,
I did watch this, by the way. Dan.
Yeah. Can you say what you thought about your rewatch of the movie without telling what the movie is, or do you need to? Should I reveal it and then you tell what you thought of the movie?
Reveal it and then I'll tell.
Okay. It was 1993's Oscar-nominated movie with an Academy Award performance by one Tommy Lee Jones. That would be the Harrison Ford blockbuster, The Fugitive.
Great movie. And let me tell you everybody something. If you haven't seen this movie in a while, go back and watch it. And watch it with your loved one. You know, it's a great movie just to sit back. Especially today would be a great day, actually, Dan.
In Allentown with the rain. Yeah.
With the rain. The grandkids might not. I have a feeling I'm going to be watching a lot of cartoons today, but that's okay, right? A little comedy relief is what we need. And listen, if you want to be part of the show or you want to win one of these prizes, call in. The number is 888-480-5646, 888-480-5646. Dan, so you're 3 weeks in now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you're doing an incredible job. There's no doubt. You're doing an incredible
thanks so much.
job. And you can tell you're starting to get used to all the multitasking. There's a lot of wheels that turn. A lot of
Very
people
much so.
don't realize this, right? So Dan is not only putting clips up, he's got to answer the phone.
Yes,
he's
which is ringing constantly.
He's got to bring guests on. And you know what? Sometimes it's people that aren't calling to get on the air. They just want to complain about something.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct. It's like, it'll be 5 minutes later after I've answered the phone. So do you want to talk to John? No. I just wanted to tell you how I was feeling about all this and what he's saying. Like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. It's good to get to know all the listeners on the John Fredericks Media Network. So yeah,
it is. Well, you brought some over with you, and
yes,
and
I hope so. I hope
you got
so.
a whole. Oh, you have, and then you've got a whole new batch of all of us crazed morning show listeners, right? And radio show hosts. So you're dealing with all types of things, which is good. It's a good experience. It shows your ability to be able to multitask. What are your thoughts on this whole situation with the redistricting and the possibilities? I think what was it? Joe said Monday he thinks that it'll be the beginnings of it being overturned.
Joe Morrissey?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold my breath for that.
Neither am I.
Based on everything that I've seen in my life, personally and otherwise, with the court system, if you go to the justice system expecting justice, you are bound for colossal disappointment.
Isn't that the truth?
These are very, very partisan. and ulteriorly motivated people.
Yes.
I went to William and Mary Law School, the first law school in the country, which I guess informally at least Jefferson and John Marshall attended back in the day. And George Wythe was the professor of law there. I think he'd flunk everybody today, but no joke. I mean, our jurisprudence has been basically awful for 200 years. As much as the judiciary has said no to the other two branches, the executive and the legislature, it should have been saying no exponentially more than it did. So much of what has been permitted is so unconstitutional by a principled reading of the document. Look, the Constitution really, if you pare it down, if you strip it down to its essence, the whole point of that and the Declaration of Independence, they're two peas in a pod, if you will. They're two sides of the same coin. But the point of government in this society was to defend society's peace, was to react, not be proactive or preemptive, because if you're trying to protect everybody, that is inherently robbing them of liberty. And a free society is inherently risky, and the way that you mitigate the risk is by reacting with vigor when somebody has crossed the line and violated that peace and breached the peace. But that's what government is supposed to do is one thing really, really well, and that is defend our rights to live our lives on our own terms peacefully. And if you're going about your business in peace, and I'm going about my business in peace, and neither one of us is resorting to undue force against anyone else, everybody else, especially those in government, should leave us the heck alone.
Yes, but they can't. They can't.
No, they apparently not. They have this compulsion to micromanage everybody and everything. And when it comes to redistricting specifically, I've stated it this way, and I think I stated it last week on your show. I know I've stated on the Reed Revolution with John Reed, and I think with JF on the John Frederick Show. But my principle is this: I am trying to preserve America spelled with a C. I'm going to do anything and everything to preserve or to try to foster the kind of society that the Constitution was supposed to engender itself. And of course, the other side, the flip side of that, is the people who want America to be spelled with a K, who are, at this point, avowed communists, unapologetically socialist, like your Zoran Mamdani in New York, but AOC, Bernie Sanders. These folks have bought wholesale into the notion that America is evil, which is ridiculous, but that's what they believe, that America is evil, that the Founding Fathers were evil, that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence are nonsense, and that we ought to be pursuing a society that is the exact opposite of what America was founded to be. So I want to do everything possible to stand in the way of those monsters.
Yeah, and it's I feel like Dan, we're at like the 19th hour here, right? Because you can just see the communists, especially with the youth, just growing and growing.
Yeah.
And why is that happening? Well, in my thought, it's because we have robbed the American dream from our kids, right? We have stolen it through heavy taxation, regulation, so forth and so on. The cost of college, all these H-1B visas. You go to college, Dan, and you come out, and half the time you can't even get a job.
Well, now you've hit on it. The big problem is academia.
Yep.
I refer to the monster as a three-headed one. You have basically academia, the media, and your politicians, but they are basically dedicated toward the dissolution of this country philosophically. But the head of the snake is academia. That's the big problem. That's where ideas come from, and no political revolution can take place without an intellectual revolution happening beforehand. We couldn't have had Thomas Jefferson without Thomas Aquinas. We couldn't have had John Adams without John Locke. And to that point, Karl Marx, John Dewey, Immanuel Kant, the people who were basically the intellectual, the intellectual godfather. That's a good way. The intellectual godfathers of collectivism, of statism, gave rise to what we see today. And it reminds me of what Khrushchev said. Yeah, do you remember the Khrushchev quote about America? That basically he more or less said, well, America may have won the battle against the Soviet Union, but we have planted the seeds in your progeny, and communism will
infiltrate,
rise
your
up
schools.
again.
Yep.
Yeah, and it comes from schooling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hate to say education because what did Mark Twain say? Never let schooling get in the way of your education. But these are not places of education; these are places of indoctrination, and they're government indoctrination centers. I mean, for one, I am all for getting rid of public schools.
Yes.
Government schools. And I don't want government schools for the same reason I don't want government grocery stores or government restaurants. If you don't want government grocery stores or government restaurants, my goodness, you definitely shouldn't want government schools.
No.
And lo and behold, these government schools teach kids, hey, big government is great. Of course they do, because they're government schools.
Yes. Yeah.
This has been fomenting and building for generations at this point. I mean, at least about 100 years. At least about 100 years. But if we're going to see something change in a dramatic way, it's going to take that intellectual movement that will spawn political reality.
What do you think it's going to take to spawn that?
Do you want me to be quite candid?
Yeah, 100%.
For 10 years, I've been an absolute proponent of a national divorce.
So divorcing.
I think that this is a marriage of irreconcilable differences in this country, and we have, on the one hand, more or less half the people in the country who want government to leave them alone.
Yep.
And on the other, basically people who want government to take care of everything and every wish and every desire. And those are just fundamentally disparate objectives. And I say we're further or farther apart. I don't know which one would be grammatically correct in this instance, but we're more apart now than we were in 1776 with slavery. Because at least with slavery, we had the idea that people deserve to live their lives on their own terms. And as obviously slavery, awful. Please do not misunderstand me. But all that we had to do intellectually was say, hey, you see those folks over there, yeah, they're people too, and they deserve the same rights that you're saying that you and your neighbors deserve. And so that was a much slimmer gulf than what we have right now, which is just a total breakdown. And an American style Brexit, a national divorce, but I think that America, as currently constituted, is the Titanic. And I think attempts at this point to try to go along, to get along, or reconcile, or compromise, it's in effect just bailing water on the Titanic. And lifeboats are not ideal. And what I'm proposing is by no means an ideal solution. I don't think that we have an ideal solution, but it's a chance.
Yes.
It's a chance. It's a fighting chance for the West and for the idea of America to survive without complete dissolution.
Well,
and I would say that if we go this route, I think much like East Germany, West Germany, I think that the folks who think that government is truly the answer to all their problems, I think that if they get that firsthand experience for themselves, which seemingly is what they need, all the lessons of history, be darned, they're not paying attention to how communism has a 100% success rate of failure, as Dan Bongino, I think, would say.
Yes.
But it's like, all right, you guys are determined to have this experience. Go have at it. Just you run the opposite direction of me. Stay away from me. Don't steal my stuff. I'm going 180 degrees the other way. And I think that in a generation or two, those folks would be coming back like, hey, do you guys got any food?
Yeah. It really shouldn't even take that long, to be honest, Dan.
No.
With the government shutdown that we just went through it.
Yeah.
And people were afraid of losing their SNAP benefits and this and that. That should be a wake-up call to anybody that's relying on the government.
Right.
At any point, they can just cut you off and you're done. Whether it be they don't agree with your views, whether it be something you posted online, it doesn't matter. Whether it be they just decide that they want to bring you to their will and break you under a system like that, they just cut you off and they will starve you to death.
Yeah, and before long, I don't know that they're going to have much of a choice. If anything happens to the U.S. dollar, we are cooked, and if we're $40 trillion in debt. I mean, how much longer can this go on? I'm sure you know Adam Carolla, the comedian and podcast. He's made an analogy that some cars are like Jaguars, and you need to take them to the shop every other week. And goodness knows, I had a friend 20 years ago who bought a Jaguar, and it wasn't more than every other week. He was telling me that he needed a ride to and from the Jaguar. I was like, why did you get this car, Mike? This is ridiculous. But it's this car. It's always broken down. But Adam said, on the other hand, some cars are like Hondas or Toyotas, and they're really built to last. And you could probably drive a Toyota 50,000 miles without an oil change, and the thing would keep on running. But at some point, if you're negligent and you neglect to take care of even a Toyota or a Honda for too long and too badly, the thing's going to break down. No car is impervious. No car is going to last. Yeah. If you don't take some care of it. And he said, I think America's like a Toyota, but we've gone a long time without taking proper care of this country, and eventually our luck's going to run out. And I'd like to think that there's something we can do to change that or stop that. I'm worried that at this point the damage is so bad that we're past the point of return.
I mean, if we could go after all the fraud and actually get rid of it, stop never-ending wars.
Well, even there, I mean, look at
we might be able to start to take a dent into it. Not,
Yeah, a dent is right. I mean, look at how much work Elon and company did with Doge earlier this year or last year, and how much pushback he got, and how vilified he was, and how people are driving Teslas now and putting bumper stickers on them. I bought this before Elon went crazy, as if Elon Musk is actually crazy.
Yeah,
but. And I was talking with my father, who's an economist of sorts, and he said, Dan, for all of the cuts that Doge was able to do, for everything they were able to find, that we're still $70 billion in the red this year, I think, is what he said. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, that is insane.
It's actually frightening, to be perfectly honest with you. And that's one of the things that, it drives me nuts when, you have these politicians going, and none of them want to cut anything. Let's be honest. That's why on both sides, very few Republicans want to cut anything either, because it's all about pandering to votes, in my opinion, and corruption.
Yeah.
You got that clip of I think it's clip 3 of Josh Hawley.
Absolutely, yeah. Should I play it here?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get that up there.
This amendment poses a simple and direct question. Should we use federal tax dollars to pay for transgender surgeries and treatments for minor children? More specifically, should we divert money from Medicaid, a program that is dedicated to the most needy among us, and use it instead to pay for risky, dangerous, irreversible transgender drugs and surgeries for minor children? Because, Madam President, that's what's been happening. For years, outfits like Planned Parenthood have gotten billions of dollars from Medicaid and Medicare, billions of dollars taken from the elderly, from the poor, from the needy, paid out to them, which they can then use for transgender surgeries, treatments, drugs for minor children. They proudly advertise it on their websites. One recent study found that in 3 years alone, Planned Parenthood got $1.5 billion from Medicaid and Medicare, money to be used on these risky surgeries and procedures for our children. This is wrong, Madam Chairman. This is a terrible misuse of federal funds, and we should put a stop to it today. I ask for a yes vote.
Absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. I mean, this is the thing. So Thune tables the SAVE Act, right? So that's done. They refused to nuke the filibuster. I believe this was Thursday night. But we can pack stuff like this in, and the Republicans will turn a blind eye. And that's our money. Like who in their right mind?
Can you believe we're even having this conversation? I mean,
That's what I mean.
What is going on?
Who in their right mind thinks this is a good idea to fund the mutilation of young people? It's absolute Looney Tune land.
Yeah. Well, are you Carl? How familiar are you with Ayn Rand? Are you an Ayn Rand?
No.
Ayn Rand, the writer, philosopher, novelist,
No,
philosopher.
go ahead.
Oh gosh, well, read some Ayn Rand, author of Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead, We the Living, other nonfiction works. But one of my favorite essays of hers, if not my altogether favorite essay of hers, was something called the Comprachicos, and she talked about this society, this ancient society. I think it was in Central America or South America, where the adults or the leaders of this tribe would basically sculpt vases around children so that their bodies would deform in contour to the sculpture, and then they'd crack the sculpture and they'd basically be these just deformed kids. Now you're reading this essay and you think, oh, this is absolutely awful, and to the earlier point that who would do something like this, that sort of thing, and the point of setting this up was to what we were talking about earlier about schooling. She then made the transition and said, look, what we're doing today is actually worse because at least the kids in that ancient society, their minds were still intact, so they could at least understand the evil of what they'd been subjected to. Whereas today's intellectuals are after children's minds, polluting their minds so that they just don't have any understanding of what's going on at all. And so it's like she sets it up where like you think like, oh, the Comprachicos, these people are just the worst people on earth.
Yeah.
But today's intellectuals are actually worse than that because of what they're targeting with children. But now it's even worse than ever before because now it's combining the Comprachicos, the mutilation of the mind and body all at once.
Yes.
So here we go, Carl. It's we're at an all-time high. We're an all-time low, as it were.
All-time low.
All-time low. I was going for the Octopussy James Bond theme song reference there, but yeah, it's just like in the movie Ted or whatever else, where Mark Wahlberg got on stage and sang that cat awful rendition of All-Time High. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And the sad part, Dan, is we as Americans, we allowed this to happen.
Yeah.
We really did. We sat back and we live in our own little bubbles, right? As long as we're getting our little piece of the pie, I call it breadcrumbs, right? As long as we're getting our breadcrumbs, I mean, Dan, you've been in talk radio forever, and I'm sure you have friends that are like, oh, I'm not going to go out and vote. It doesn't matter. It's all a corrupt system and this and that. Well, during COVID, I think a lot of people started to wake up, right? And realize that, it does matter. Because up to that point, we were living in bubbles, right? Maybe not me and you, but a lot of people that are just in the rat race every day. They go to work, they have their house. They're able to buy their new car. Their kid has an iPad. As long as they're getting that, they're happy. Right? And they don't think all these things around them matter. Well, and we're finally starting to find out, and I hope the people of Virginia are starting to find out.
Well, on the subject of Virginia, do you remember what happened in Virginia about almost 10 years ago now? Maybe not. Okay, so control of the General Assembly in Virginia came down to a single vote, I want to say, in 2017, no, maybe it was 17. I think.
Okay.
So essentially, it was a split House of Delegates, and the race to decide which party was going to control the House literally ended up in a tie vote. And the way that the control of Virginia, at least the legislature of Virginia, got decided was, and I'm not making this up, was by a coin flip.
It's like it's a sports game.
and Kirk Cox ended up becoming speaker. The Republican won the coin flip, got the seat, and then Kirk Cox ended up succeeding my lifelong friend Bill Howell as Speaker of the House of Delegates. But I mean that tells you that your vote can, I won't say it always matters, because if you're in California and you're voting Republican, good luck. But your vote can very much matter. I mean that's an unbelievable story about what happened here.
That's nuts. That's crazy. It
was. I mean, if you can imagine. And then, of course, after that, we had the whole Northam blackface scandal. So
yeah,
I mean, it was just so literally to stop. I mean, it was looking for a bit as though Northam was going to resign in disgrace. Justin Fairfax. Wounds are fresh there, but that he was going to step down. That Mark Herring, who had his own blackface scandal.
What is wrong with these people?
That was the one that was really great, because he gets to a press conference or something like that, and just is just, I can't believe Governor Northam would do this. This is an outrage. I can't believe he would wear blackface. I mean, I did it too, but what Northam did is unacceptable. Oh, hold on, wait, don't bury the lead. You did it too. Well, why do you get to stay in office? He says, well, I'm being upfront about it.
Yeah. I'll never forget.
If he had resigned, the governorship would have gone to the guy who won speakership by means of a coin flip.
I'll never forget. I believe it was Governor Northam. They were doing a press conference, and
unbelievable.
He was there with his wife.
Yes,
and
Pam.
a reporter. He started talking about like dressing up like Michael Jackson and dancing, and he was gonna start to dance, and he looked over at his wife.
We should next week.
Like,
you know what, Carl? Next week we should unearth that clip and play it, because I used to drive for Uber on the side years ago now. But when I would pick people up from the airport, and this was right around the time that all this was going on, I would regale them with this story. If they had never been to Virginia before, it's like, well, let me tell you what's going on here, and they would be like, you're making this up. No, this didn't happen. It's like, well, let me play the video. And they were like, oh my god. And it's like, yeah, if not for his wife interjecting, like, Ralph, no, Ralph, no, like he was gonna get out on the floor and moonwalk. I mean, it was already a top 5 press conference in the history of America. It was gonna jump right up to number 1, if not. Pam Northam ruined it for him. he was sizing up the floor. He's thinking, I think I got enough room. I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. And then he looks back and right, Ralph, no, and he looks back at the camera. And says, oh, my wife says inappropriate circumstances. It's like, yeah, no duh. I mean,
that was your governor.
That was the governor of Virginia. And he was a doctor. He's a doctor. I mean, it's not like he was just a janitor at a high school. It's not like he was a bartender like AOC. He was a doctor. And he had this little sense.
I was like watching that, and I'm like, he's not really going to do this, is he?
And now everybody knows why the yes vote won in Virginia, because our elected officials are a representation of the people who vote them in. And yeah, so if your governor is that dumb, then the people who vote for him must not be very bright either. It's I'm sorry, but it's true.
Oh, you're killing me, Dan. You're killing me.
This is these are not rocket scientists. It's just crazy.
And when I saw that, I was just like, I was blown away that he actually had to look at his wife, and his wife had to tell him no.
His wife is just trying to get his attention. Ralph, no, Ralph.
She was like
standing there in the corner, horrified. She's like, why did I agree to marry this man? Can I go back and can I find the Doc Brown DeLorean and go back and tell my younger self, whatever you do? It was just, I mean, the look of horror on her face as he's sizing up the floor, like, I think I got room. I can. He sounded like Roscoe P. Coltrane.
He did.
It was just like,
I get to do the
moonwalk.
That will stick in my mind as one of the best press conferences.
Oh, it was top five
of history.
And it would have been number 1 if he had moonwalked. Absolutely, there would have been never would have been a press conference better than that.
I mean, I'll say the most horrifying one was I believe his name was Bud Dwyer. You remember him? Philadelphia?
Don't. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't. You'll have to tell me about that.
He was being investigated for corruption.
Okay.
And live during a press conference, he shot himself on TV.
Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Yes, I have.
I remember being a kid.
John Reed was telling me about this week, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
He didn't say the guy's name, but he said, the guy who shot himself.
Dwyer was his name. He was from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay.
Yep. And
there's somebody in California, I think, that maybe did the same thing.
I was like horrifying. I'm like, oh my God.
Misery loves company, I guess. Yeah. And then I think there's a Netflix movie about a TV anchor who shot herself on camera.
Jeez, like who thinks that's a good idea?
People who've lost their minds. I mean, they're obviously very, 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 very unhappy with life. Clearly.
Yes.
So
let's play real quick just to show the insanity of Virginia.
Yeah, no kidding.
I believe it was it clip 2? I think I sent you of the Fairfax.
Fairfax, yeah.
Yeah. Let's play that. This is just nuts.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Weichbrot. I'm a mom of 2 in Fairfax County. This is my oldest, and my husband and I have a difficult decision to make this fall as he is approaching preschool age, and we are faced with the decision of whether or not we are going to put our child in public school system where Fairfax County has decided to move forward with instituting gender studies in elementary school. Despite having done a study group, a focus group in the community to see if parents even wanted this. And when parents said no, the board voted 16-0 and said we're moving forward anyways. This shows clearly that they see parents not as partners, but as an obstacle for their agenda. And I have a really hard time looking at him and going, here, I'm just going to give you over to people who do not want to partner with me in how you're going to be raised. School and education is a huge part of a child's life. And early childhood is supposed to be filled with exploration and creativity and fun, not debating issues that are for adults to handle. These kinds of topics should be introduced sensitively and by parents who are raising their children with their values, not with an ideology passed down from the top.
And that's your tax dollars, Virginia, paying to indoctrinate your children. And that just made Dan's case right there. That woman just made your case for why would you
ever send your kids to I mean, I don't have any children myself. Surprise, surprise. Women have not wanted to procreate with me, Carl. But yes, no, I don't have any children. But goodness knows if I did. The last place I would send them to McDonald's to get an education before I'd send them to a government school.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's serious, and I'm not joking about it. I think they'd actually learn more about life from working at McDonald's than they would. That would be more productive toward teaching them how to be independent and earn a living and make their way in the world than sending them to the classroom in a government school in this day.
I mean, the school board, like, how are they? They're elected officials. Who's electing these people?
Well, in Virginia, the same people who voted for Ralph Northam.
That's absolute, complete insanity.
Yeah.
You know, 100% Looney Tuneville nutso. All right, real quick, before we continue with the show, let's get to our sponsors here, our advertisers. IronBeanCoffee.com, IronBeanCoffee.com. You want the absolute best coffee on the planet. Go to IronBeanCoffee.com, IronBeanCoffee.com. I'm getting a phone call, Dan, while I'm on the air from Tim Skillett. Come on, Tim, call into the show. Don't call me on the phone. I'm on the air right now. It's distracting me. I've got a attention deficit disorder. Tim, you can't distract me. I'm focusing. Also, Meraki Medicinal, MerakiMedicinal.com. What is it? It's methylene blue, and I've got it right here in my cup. All you have to do is go to MerakiMedicinal.com, MerakiMedicinal.com. What is methylene blue? Well, it works on a cellular level. And we had Jacob on last week, and he kind of explained it, I thought. But I'm not a doctor, right? So I don't really know exactly how this stuff works. I just know it works. It gives me more energy, mental clarity, and I have also not been sick at all this year since I've been taking it. They also have a black seed, cold pressed black seed oil, which is good topically and good if you ingest it. So go today to MerakiMedicinal.com. They also have the Moon Cream, which is a beef talon with methylene blue mixed into it. You're going to absolutely love it. Go there today. And Patriot Pouch, PatriotPouchUSA.com. What is it? It's a nicotine alternative. It's not nicotine, YouTube. It's not nicotine. It's a nicotine alternative that replaces chewing tobacco. Now, Dan, I'm assuming you don't chew tobacco. But if you did, you would want to try this product because it's amazing. And it also is going to help you stop smoking, right? So go to PatriotPouchUSA.com, use promo code Carl10, get 10% off. You're going to absolutely love this product. It's created by my man, Alex Duncan, and he's the man with a plan. So go to PatriotPouch.USA or PatriotPouchUSA.com. Use promo code Killer Carl 10 and save 10%. And then we have Beyond Detox. Jacob was on here last week. I actually had somebody reach out to me, Dan, that wanted to connect with Jacob because he's such an amazing person. So I sent your information to Jacob. He's going to be in touch with you. Go to BeyondDetox.com/Killer Carl. BeyondDetox.com/Killer Carl. And book an appointment with Jacob today. You're going to absolutely love him. He's a regular guest here on the radio show. Let's go to line 2, Tim Orlando.
Oh, good morning, Killer Carl. What a great show so far. It's great hearing Dan too. Everybody's getting to meet Dan a little bit.
Dan's a great guy.
Yeah, let's continue this Virginia. The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, they just found out that Chancellorsville was a setup in 2017, right after Trump was
Charlottesville,
elected.
Yeah, Charlottesville.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, how does that happen?
Can I float something real quick, Tim? Is it just me, or does the Southern Poverty Law Center just feel like it's like funded by the CIA secretly, and it's used to create narratives? I mean, I'm just going out there on a limb, but it's funny how all these things these underlying things that were funded through like USAID and all these things. It just feels ooky to me.
All right. Well, okay. So you guys were talking about Musk getting stopped with GOAT or whatever, the
Doge.
government
Doge,
accountability.
Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah.
And that was stopped by Norm Eason's NGO with about 100 lawsuits. I mean, Norm Eason has filed 180 lawsuits against this new administration, okay? And he filed lawsuits in the last administration of Trump. So it was like Trump .2 for Norm Eason. This thing with the SPLC, though, was that it was a complete setup, it seems like, all the way back to when the mayor decided to take down Robert E. Lee's statue and A.P. Hill statue in Richmond, which caused the trigger. So they put powder in the gun to shoot, they put powder in to explode it to ruin Trump, but they need a trigger, and the trigger seemed like it was a plan. And the sad part is, I mean, what they've got them on right now is that they fundraised off of Chancellorsville. So they funded the chaos and the riot, and there were 35 injured in that riot. Okay, 35 injured. Remember when the guy drove the car through the anti-protesters? Yeah. Obviously, because I'd be protesting against the fascists and the Nazis and the KKK. I'd be the anti-protesters. I'd be out there against that, right? Yeah. I mean, we all would, right? We all would, right? So this guy drives through the crowd, injuring 35 people. All right. So they used that against Trump the whole time. All right. And so where was the FBI that figured all this out?
Well,
how did the FBI not know?
I'm going to tell you.
Paid informants.
There was a statement. There was a statement made by one of the figureheads at the Southern Poverty Law Center saying that they coordinate with the FBI and they share information. Right there. Right there. That tells you everything you need to know. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And I know I get beat up in the chat because I'm a realist. I believe I just sit back and I look at things, and when it doesn't make nothing's going to happen to anybody that was involved in this. I'm sorry, they're linked to the government somehow and to the CIA. So somehow or some way, this is all going to get thrown in the garbage, or it'll just go under the wayside.
Well, I'm with Dan. I'm with Dan. I got to call in to my attorney Finkelstein, and I want a divorce from our government, man. I'm filing.
Look, I've thought this through. Like, what's the Marvel Doctor Strange? Is that the guy's name? In Marvel? It's like it's like when they're fighting. What's the other guy's name? With the rings, Thanos or whatever else. Yeah. He's like, there's only one way this works out. Look, I've thought about this a lot, and I'm telling you, I don't see another way that we can survive as a culture. And I'm big on saying I don't see a way forward for America as currently constituted. But what I'm hoping is that a federation of states will come together, will take a copy of the Constitution, slap it down in front of the national government and say, look, this is the contract between you and us. You're in breach of this, and that. We want a separation. We're out. Give us our share of the debt, and we'll divide the assets, our share in the debt, and we'll go.
Real quick, because we got another caller on the line. You want to take a stab
this is the,
at winning this beautiful autographed picture? You want to take a guess at
Not a chance. I thought it was Puff Daddy's movie. I thought it was Snoop Dogg Puff Daddy movie.
I gotta say, I'm amazed so far, Carl, at how I think of these scores as very distinctive. Like, oh well, that's this, and of course it's that. But
maybe in your household, Dan.
Yeah.
My household, I was going to volleyball games and basketball games with my kids, man.
Right.
We weren't going to the movies.
All right, Timmy, great call. Let's get to Mike in Chester, Virginia. Hey, Mike, how you doing today? What's on your mind, brother?
Good. How are you folks this morning?
Living the dream, baby.
Yeah, doing all right, bud.
The more I listen, the more I hear all this information coming out. Our federal government's turned into a homeowners association. You give a few people that are totally misinformed a little bit of power, and they go batshit crazy. I mean, I actually live in a homeowners association. I've been around with these people, and I think pretty much stood up in front of them. I said, "You're supposed to keep me out of court and keep the grass cut. That's it. All this extra stuff is just BS." I don't get it, but the government's going to get in that kind of way. They're finding ways to interject themselves into your life. They're trying to make your life miserable. Well, for what reason?
Control. They want utter control over every aspect of your life. And we've allowed it, though, Mike. We've sat back, like I said, and we've allowed this. And the Republican Party, to me, has surrendered the inner cities where this stuff festers and thrives. We have surrendered the inner cities to the Democratic Party. We just don't care. And that's why for a long time I've said we need to create almost like a TPAC movement, right? My buddy Royce White out there in Minnesota is doing it, but we've got to start a TPAC type movement and get into these inner cities and start to get back the hearts and souls of these young children, and even kids that are graduating high school, and show them that government in your life is not good, right? It's better to have self-governance, be an entrepreneur, create wealth for yourself, be less reliant on the government, escape poverty. But we have surrendered them to the Democratic Party for some reason, and it boggles my mind.
May I jump in here, Carl? On that note, I wanted to say something that so I'm not like Michael Malice. Are you familiar with Michael Malice, a regular guest on Glenn Beck's show? He's an anarchist. He thinks that we should just get rid of government altogether. I'm not with him on that. But here's my question. Would you rather take your chances with anarchy right now, or the trending toward totalitarian governments that we have in the world? I will tell you, I'll answer the question. I'd rather have no government than the governments that we have.
Yeah.
Now that's not ideal in my mind, but if I have to choose between two imperfect options, I would rather take my chances just being responsible for taking care of myself altogether.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, we are funding our own demise through our tax dollars.
Yeah.
We fund our own demise. We give these lavish lifestyles to these politicians. They do their insider trading. They sell themselves to foreign nations like China through lobbyists, all in the detriment of ourselves. I mean, Dan, who would have ever thought that it would be a good idea to let China buy farmland near military bases?
Right? No, yeah, I mean,
it's almost like, are you kidding me?
Well, and this is a fundamental misunderstanding of what a free market is. I must admit, it took some persuasion for me to understand Trump's position on tariffs. That if other countries are levying tariffs against us, then we're foolish if we don't levy them back. I am all for reciprocal tariffs because I like what President Trump says in a sentence. Free trade is fair trade. Yep. And that's inherently unjust if we're being forced but not returning the favor. I think President Trump and I both would prefer a world without tariffs altogether. But if the other groups out there or the other countries out there are gonna raise tariffs against us, well, then we should do it in return. Well, similarly, this idea where we're selling property or whatever else, or making property available to a communist country, the government of a communist country, that's not the free market. It is very much an unfree market, because those people are dedicated toward the destruction of America. so that's not good. That's the type of thing where government can reasonably intervene and say, no, we're not going to allow this to happen, because this is an enemy of the country. And if you don't understand this point, and I hope I'm not going crazy here when I say this, and I realize that's our 2-minute alarm, right?
Yeah.
But if you
put it on silent.
if you fill in the blank, like, would you in World War II era time, would you have allowed the Nazis to do blank? And your answer is, oh, well, gosh, no, of course not.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have allowed Nazis to buy property in this country. We wouldn't have allowed Nazis to immigrate to this country during the war. If your answer is that, well, then think about what your answer ought to be to dedicated, avowed enemies of the country today.
Yep, they absolutely
absolutely
hate us. Great show, Dan. Reach out to Dan if you have the answer for his movie score trivia.
Do you have a guess? 1987.
1987. Originally, I was going to say, this is an original. I was originally going to say Planet of the Apes, but then I was like, no,
ooh, that's 20 years too late. Now I'm glad you're picking a Jerry Goldsmith score.
Yes,
that was one of the all-time great Jerry Goldsmith scores, but by the master himself. But yes, that's interesting. So you thought that sounded like Planet of the Apes?
I did. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, right? And then you said like the sequels that went on. I'm thinking there were multiple sequels of that, but yeah, that's going to be a tough one. But I'm looking forward to the answer next week, or somebody answering it. With that being said, you've got Godzilla Wins coming up next. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the chat. Stay tuned all day to the John Fredericks Radio Network, Godzilla Wins, Golf Show, and the Great John Gordon, starting at 12 o'clock. Stay tuned to the John Fredericks Network all week and all day. Catch you guys next Saturday. God bless.